but Candy has covered the presidential campaigns of Pat Buchanan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Howard Dean, Bob Dole, Jesse Jackson, Edward Kennedy, John Kerry, Barack Obama, and Ronald Reagan. So please, join me in welcoming one of the nation's premier journalists, Candy Crowley.
Thank you all. I think the fundamental problem, very smart woman named Amy Walter, who used to be at ABC, and now she's back on Capitol Hill covering that, and she knows a lot. When I'm stumped on something, I generally will ask Amy. And I had her on my show the other day, and she said, and I think this is right, that part of the fundamental problem with the President's Affordable Health Care Act is that they sold it as, you know, most of you don't have to worry. It's going to be fine. You can keep your doctor. You can keep your health insurance. It's not going to, you know, some people, it might cost them a little more, but it'll be fine. And yeah, the people that can't afford it now will bring them in too. When the fact of the matter is, you're changing, what, a sixth of the economy? This is painful. And had it been sold as, listen, it is fundamentally, assuming from the President's mind, it's fundamentally wrong for the world's only remaining superpower to have 40 million people that don't have health insurance. It's going to cost some of you, the lucky ones who've been able to afford health insurance, but in the end it will bring everybody in. We're hoping we can bring down the cost of health care, but it's going to be painful. But instead it was, hey, if you've got it, you can keep it, period. Those of you, most of you won't even be affected. Well, now it turns out nearly everyone's going to be affected. So once you sell it as something, and people become surprised when they see what their health insurance is going to look like or not look like. We're already beginning to see stories about the Medicare Advantage and programs like that, where you can keep it, but your clinic that you've gone to, where your primary doctor is, and your other 5 doctors that you have, is not actually in the approved places in your insurance where you can go, because there's some regulation in Obamacare that doesn't fit this particular clinic. So people are finding out that perhaps they won't be able to keep their doctors. There's nothing more powerful at the voting booth than angry seniors. I think we've seen that over time. So if that plays out in large form, now the pushback now from Democrats is, everybody's favorite fallback position, it's the media's fault. If you all would just tell the good stories, people wouldn't think that this was, you know, a failure or doomed to failure. There are good stories. We've seen hundreds of thousands of people added to Medicaid. These are people that didn't have insurance before. That's a good thing for people to get health insurance when they couldn't get it. But the fact of the matter is, that there is not, at the moment, any proof that we can see that that not just the website, because websites can be fixed and we all get that, but now we have the exception for people that were on the private market, that weren't getting insurance from their company, that don't have Medicare, don't have Medicaid, but bought it in the private market. Now they can keep their health insurance for a year if they want, because of the President's promise, but then that money that they were counting on to come into the exchanges to help the insurance companies pay for older and sicker people isn't going to come in. So where's that money going to come from? So the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. Well, everything is connected to everything else in the Affordable Care Act. And I don't think there is a soul that knows how the act itself is going to play out. And if you look at next year's election, what happens right during that time? People begin to get their notices as to how much their insurance is going to cost them in 2015, right before the election. We will know a lot about what went on in that first 9-10 months, and we will know what the changes will be in Medicare. So you have this potentially explosive thing about to happen right when the midterms come. And having said that, midterms always sort of run against the party who have a leader in the Oval Office, so it's already a tough climb.